I start out this video without saying the same old things? Bradenton, Florida, Sunshine State Rails, and I welcome you back. My bro Danny is with us today, and we are to chase the Tropicana juice train out of our well-known Bradenton. Our purpose for coming out today was the EMD X Conrail SD40-2 that would be to lead northbound. Originally coming out here, we thought that there would have been an SD70 Mace leading, which would be one of the new rebuilt SD70 Max. But it looks like they took it off in Yeoman Yard before 823 ran down here this morning. I mean, hey, still, to see an X Conrail SD40-2 in 2020 is still pretty cool, and was definitely worth the chase to Tampa. The power is currently sitting on what I know as the pass track, where the mixed freight that is to go north normally sits. The power is hooked onto the mixed freight, which includes of a bunch of covered hoppers and one AEX open-top hopper carrying loaded plate glass. The plate glass is loaded by Strategic Materials down in Sarasota on the Seminole Gulf Railway. The covered hoppers come from Sarasota and Bradenton, and he sure had his share of covered hoppers today. This is the final building out part of 823's day. He pulls the mixed freight out onto the main line and backs on to the rest of the train, which has even more covered hoppers on it. While the train's passing, we have a little fun fact to share. For those who don't know, that little yellow line that outlines the snowplow on the SD40 means that it is operable on a track that has 3 rails somewhere in New York. I'm not fully educated on this other track or railroad that this SD40 is operable on, but only a select number of EMDs have this yellow ring. So it's always a nice little but not too noticeable treat once you see it. Had been blocking the crossing for about 10 minutes. I shortened it up since I already made the wait and I don't need to make you guys do the wait. But everybody on the road did, and traffic is completely backed up through downtown Bradenton. Note the right lanes though. This is why when chasing the juice train you always stay on this side and leave before the train clears, because you have a road like that to travel on and get ahead of the train with. Once the train got in contact with the Alafaya River bridge tender and the drawbridge on the Big Manatee River was lowered, the train could depart at 11:43 a.m. keep up with tradition and make sure that our chase wasn't interrupted, we jumped off before the train cleared and made it to downtown Palmetto with a fair number of minutes to spare. We are now on the very outskirts of Palmetto. That's US 41 flying over the tracks down there, and right in front of me is the milepost for AZA 911. The train will be revving up to pick up speed here because he is coming out of a slowdown at a work order about a half-mile south. Our next stop would be Port Manatee. This would be known to employees as the North Gate entrance. Just to the south is the South Gate entrance, which is where we usually film trains coming around the corner at Port Manatee. I decided to come back to this crossing because we haven't got this shot in a while, and they've cut back a lot of the brush here, so you have a clear, open curve shot of the juice train. Here's to another shot that I haven't gotten in quite some time. There's a curve just beyond the US 41 overpass and Little Manatee River in Ruskin, Florida. We shot a train here a few years back, but it was nice to revisit this spot again, other than the fact that there's barely anywhere to park on this road. On what looked to be a slowdown for the Alafia River, we caught up to the bottom of and immediately got ahead of A23 again at Gibsonton. Our last shot would come just a mile south of Yeoman Yard, at the Palm River Holdout, a signal that governs the authority of trains over the Palm River. So from here we left the juice train to pull into Yeoman Yard, and we left for some lunch. Afterwards we came back out to Adamo Drive, and after about a 45-minute wait, up came from the south Y191, a train that is coming back to Yeoman Yard after servicing a customer near Rockport Yard. Now that Y191 has passed, you're about to see some footage that you probably won't see at many or any other places, as a very kind train master under the name of Juan came out and gave us a very special treat. He had driven by and saw us railfanning and wondered what we were doing, and after hopping out of his F-150, we found that he was an awesome guy, and after talking with him about a bunch of trains that run around Yeoman Yard, he asked us a question that really shouldn't even be a question to us railfans: if we wanted to see the inside of the yard. So, the train master of Yeoman Yard took us inside the yard. We followed him right in and got to see the inside of Yeoman.
Like the one in Plant City.
Dude, that's all. Dude, that's all of that.
Damn.
Funny because sometimes we hate it because we're doing it so much every day. It's constant, you know, and to see you like enjoy it, it's kind of like okay.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all a matter of perspective, and when you're in.
Honestly, guys, I tell you, I really am privileged to meet the people I do out here. It's a part of the hobby that I can never leave or not enjoy. But this is what the inside of Yeoman Yard looks like. As we were talking to our new friend, Y191 showed up from the south end, putting his train back into Yeoman. To the right, we have all of the main freight tracks where all of the freight cars are stored here, and right in front of us is a huge line of loaded rock hoppers. But this isn't just any line of rock hoppers. Within a video that comes out on my channel a day or two from now, you'll see why. Also, I am only posting these videos to YouTube because I was given explicit permission by the trainmaster to do so. I have video evidence of this, and I will use it against any parties that I feel necessary. All things aside, we were in Yeoman for about half an hour, and I tell you, it was quite the sight to be inside that big yard. It's almost like having a drone. It gives you a lot more insight on the way things work here. Very special thanks to outgoing people like Juan, who take the time to make people's lives like mine 10 times better. We would wait in the Tampa area on the Palmetto Subdivision for roughly another hour and a half. One last train would come to bless our day, CSX K31306. An empty train of custom phosphate flip-top hoppers leaving Rockport Yard bound for the Ridgewood plant near Bartow in the Bone Valley. The day would end here for us, and it was time to get my friend Danny and ourselves back home. And on a quick note, be sure to give Danny some support on his YouTube channel, Palmetto Sub Railfan. It was a hot but amazing day out here on the Palmetto Subdivision and in Yeoman Yard. A mixture of just being with a great friend and being able to go inside a big freight yard made this one of the best days in a long time. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video that documents it. There will be more to come, so be sure to stay tuned, please, until I come back on the Sunshine State Rails.